सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमितं कालदेशावदिभ्या निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनः उरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावत् भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम् बाहुद्वन्द्वेन रत्नोज्ज्वलवलय भृता शोणपाणिप्रवाळेनोपाता वेणुनाळी प्रसृतनखमयूखाङ्गुली संगशारा कृत्वा वक्त्रारविन्दे सुमधुरविकसद् रागमुद्भाव्य मानैः शब्दब्रह्मामृतैः त्वं शिशिरितभुवनैः सिञ्च मे कर्णवीथि.
Gurupavanapure Hantabhagyam Janana. Namaskaram to all the Astikas. The very essence of Srimad Bhagavata Mahapuranam has been presented to us in the form of a beautiful Bhakti Kavyam called Śrīman Nārāyaṇīyam. In the very presence of Krishna, Sri Vasudeva of Guruvayur, Bhaṭṭatiri writes the beauty of Nārayaneeyam one Dashakam after the other. In this Dashakam he says, Prachetasastu bhagavan aparohi dakshaha tvatsevanam vyadidha sarga vivruddhikamaha avirbabhuvitha tada lasadashtabahuhu tasmai varam daditha tam cha vadhumasikneem. So, He Bhagavan, He Shadgunya Paripurna, the one who is the repository of all 6 auspicious attributes, Jnana Bala, Aishwarya Virya, Shakti Tejas, He Bhagavan, Aparaha Dakshaha Prachetasaha Tu. Another Daksha. Why does he say another Daksha? Because we have already discussed one Daksha. From Swayam Bhuvamanu came Prasuti, Yakuti, Devahuti. Then we have seen Daksha there. And then we also ended up seeing Daksha Yajnam. And there we saw how Shiva, through Veerabhadra, was able to stop the Yajnam. And later, Narayana had to complete that Yajnam. That is one Daksha. This is another Daksha. So he says, Aparadakshaha Prachetasaha Tu. Who is this Daksha? The son of Prachetas. We have seen that the 10 Prachetas ended up marrying Marisha. So that is mentioned. Aparaha Dakshaha Prachetasaha Tu. Sarga Vivruddhi Kamaha Hi. Now, this father wanted his children, mainly that he had seen and he had produced, to end up multiplying. See, that's how traditional people used to look at, where they used to say that marriage is a beautiful institution. One of its main objectives is Prajotpatti. So he says, Aparaha Dakshaha Prachetasaha Tu Sarga Vivruddhi Kamaha Hi. Then what did he do? Vyadhita Tvat Sevanam. He took to the worship. So Prachetasa's son Daksha took to your worship. That time, how did you appear? Before Dhruva, Bhagavan appeared. So how did he appear here? He says, Tada Tvam Avirbabhuvitha. You did appear in front of him. Lasad Ashtabahuhu, with resplendence, with that radiance. Ashtabahuhu. Remember, we have discussed this beautiful form of Bhagavan where he carries ayudhams in his hand. He is called Ashtabhuja Vishnu. There is one very famous temple believed to be during the Pallava times, 1500 to 2000 years old, in the very city of Kanchipuram. He is called Ashtabhuja Vishnu. There is a stotram written exclusively by a great acharya called Vedanta Deshika on that Bhagavan called Ashtabhujashtakam. So Ashtabahu Vishnu is also seen in Angkor Wat. So here he says, Lasad Ashtabahu Daditha Tasmai Varam. On him Bhagavan bestowed Tam Asiknim Vadhum Cha. As he bestowed him the boon of bhakti, he also bestowed a beautiful girl as his wife. That woman was called Asikni. Tasyatmajastvayutamisha punassahasram Shri Naradasya vachasa tava margamapuhu naikatra vasam rishayesa mumocha shapam bhaktottamastvarushi nugrahameva mene. Hey Isha, the one who controls everything in the universe, Tasya Atmajaha tu, your sons, his sons, were Ayutam Punaha Sahasram. He gives one number, 10,000, Yuta Punaha Sahasram, another 1,000. So 10,000 and 1,000, Ayutam Punaha Sahasram, 10,000 plus 1,000. So these were the number of sons. It is very similar to Ramo Rajyam Upasitva. How long did Rama rule? Dashavarsha Sahasrani, Dashavarsha Shatani cha, 10,000 plus 1,000. Of course, Nagesha Bhatta, the great commentator in his commentary called Tilaka, there says for that word Varsha, Varsha Shabdo Dinaparha, Yadva, Varsha Shabdo Dinaparha, 1 year is to be treated as 1 day using a Aharvai Samvatsaraha rule. Here he says 10,000 plus 1,000, Apuhu Tava Margam. They all took to the path of bhakti, renunciation, and they all were worshipping you, Krishna. As a result of which, why did they do that? He attributes the reason, Bachasa, upon listening to the advice, suggestions given by Shri Naradasya. Narada directed them to the path of bhakti, thereby renunciation, so on and so forth. But this angered the father Daksha. So what did he do? Saha, that Daksha, Mumocha Shapam. He pronounced a curse on Narada. How dare I have produced children for Prajotpati and you have made them all sannyasis? This is not done, Narada. So he cursed. Mumocha Shapam. What Shapam was it? What curse was it? Rishayena Ekatra Vasam. Thereby I curse you. Ekatra Vasam. You will never be staying in one place. You will keep moving place after place. Like how we say transferable job. You will be you're on a sales job, marketing job where you keep traveling, meeting your clients. Similarly, he says, Ekatra Vasam, na, you will never stay in one place. Rishihi tu bhaktottamaha. But how did Narada take it? See, that is the beauty what Narayaneeyam presents. Well, there is a curse, there is a problem. But how do people see it? How do people accept it? Rishihi tu bhaktottamaha. This Sri Narada is the foremost amongst the devotees of Bhagavan. So, Bhaktottamaha, Tamaha means the best. So, Bhaktottamaha, the best amongst the devotees, this Rishihi tu Bhaktottamaha, mene, he considered Eva Anugraham. He thought, okay, this man has said that I'll be moving place after place. Isn't it an anugraham? I will keep visiting Vrindavanam, I will visit Mathura, I will visit Dwaraka, I will visit Pandharpur, I will visit Badrinath, I will visit Puri Jagannath, I will visit Bhadrachalam, I will visit Tirupala, Tirupati, I will visit Melakote, I will visit Udupi, I will visit Guruvayur, I will visit Srirangam, I will visit Kanchipuram, I will visit Tirukkurungudi. So for Narada, this curse wasn't a curse, it was a blessing because he will have darshanam of Bhagavan in so many places. Mene eva anugraham. Next shloka, Bhaṭṭatiri says, Shashtya tato duhitribihi srijata kulaughan dauhitra sunuratha tasyasa Vishwarupaha tvatstotra varmitam ajapyad indram ajau Devatvadiya mahima khalu sarva jaitraha tataha saha Vishwarupaha. Then there is one mention about a person. We have seen Prachetas, then we have seen Daksha, then we have seen Daksha's Shapa to Narada Maharshi. Next is Dauhitra Sunuhu Tasya. So who is this Vishwarupa? He is the Dauhitra Sunuhu. So Daksha had a daughter, daughter's son's son. Dauhitra Sunuhu Tasya. This particular Dauhitra Sunu was there called Vishwarupa. Srijataha Kulaughan. He said, I will take forward this progeny. So he was propagating the generation of various species through Shashtya Duhitribihi Atha. Through Daksha's 60 daughters, then Indram Ajapayata Ajau. Tvatstotra Varmitam. So there is a Tvatstotra Varmitam. Bhaṭṭatiri says, through your stotram, a stotram on you, something was won. What was this stotram? It was called Nārāyaṇa Kavacham. Nārāyaṇa Kavacham is a beautiful stotram presented in Śrīmad Bhagavatam as to how this was used. Now, where did this situation come? For that, there is one particular charitram which is mentioned. Of course, Bhaṭṭatiri doesn't convey this in detail, but Śrīmad Bhagavatam tells it. Indra, the other devas, Indra was the leader of the devas, the chief amongst the devas, and they had a purohita, a guide, an acharya called Brihaspati, who is called Guru. And that Guru is who is very related to Guruvayur. So this Guru called Brihaspati was their preceptor, was their guide. Now there was an altercation between Indra and Brihaspati. It is said that at one point in time, Brihaspati felt insulted that he was not given due importance by Indra. So he deserted the devas. When they had no proper guidance through an acharya, because the acharya had left, Asuras, they thought this was the right moment to attack the devas, and there was a yuddham. That is when Indra wanted an acharya. That is when he sought the help of Vishwarupa. Vishwarupa was the nephew to the Asuras. But taking mercy on the devas, he became their purohita. He filled in the position of Brihaspati. Well, but still, despite Vishwarupa's presence, some of the devas did feel the absence of Brihaspati. But without having a preceptor is going to be disastrous. So they thought Vishwarupa is filling the position. That is when Vishwarupa taught them this particular stotra called as Nārāyaṇa Kavacham. And using Nārāyaṇa Kavacham with the very grace of Nārāyaṇa, of course, with the guidance of Vishwarupa, they were able to win over the Asuras. But this Vishwarupa still had a soft corner to his family members, the Asuras. So while he was instructed by Indra to perform the yajnam, he offered secretly one havis to the Asuras. And this was noticed by Indra. So he beheaded Vishwarupa. This beheading of Vishwarupa, the very news, which was a disaster, was heard by his father Tvashta. So Tvashta ended up performing a yajnam to create a particular kritya, like person who was Vritra. This Vritra was asked to take on Indra and defeat Indra. That is when he performed the yajnam. But in that yajnam, he said, Indra Shatro Vardhasva, which meant that Indra should lose the battle, and the person who's fighting Indra, whoever is going to fight Indra, let his power increase. This is the meaning of that mantra. Indra Shatro Vardhasva. But when that swaram got changed, because instead of rising it in one place and bringing it down at the other place when it was reversed, the meaning too got changed. What was the meaning then? The meaning that was applicable at that point in time was, earlier it was whoever was fighting Indra, their power should increase. But now it was not so. It meant the other way, that Indra's power will increase and the person who's fighting him will lose. Thereby Vritra is said to have lost, Indra is said to have won. So all this is mentioned in Bhagavatam, but Bhaṭṭatiri doesn't take us through all of that. He just says, Saha Vishwarupaha Dauhitra Sunuhu. He just mentions the lineage, and then he says, Indram Ajapayata Ajo. How did Indra win? Because of this Vishwarupa who taught Tvatstotra Varmitam. His Bhaṭṭatiri's objective is through Nārāyaṇa Kavacham they won. He Deva Tvadiya Mahima. That way, He Bhagavan, He Krishna, your greatness, Khalu Sarvajaitraha is indeed capable of conquering all. So this is the point that Bhaṭṭatiri brings through this particular charitram. Of course, whatever I have mentioned is found in Bhagavatam, and it is a very famous shloka that most of the Vaidikas, the Veda Pandits, recite, where they say if there is an exchange in the swaras, there will be a problem in the phalam, in the fruits. So a blatant example cited by various acharyas is Indrashatro Vardhasva. So this is one example that is given. Bhaṭṭatiri then takes us through another very interesting name called as Chitraketu, which will come in the next episode.
कल्याणरूपाय कलौ जनानां कल्याणदात्रे करुणासुधाब्दे कंवादिदिव्यायुधसत्कराय वातालयाधीश नमो नमस्ते. नारायण 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 नारायण